Good afternoon. Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Monday, June the 27th. Courts are making news again today, the U.S. Supreme Court particularly. It ruled today in a very important Texas case that two Texas laws that are make it harder to obtain abortions in that state are unconstitutional. The laws would require places that provide abortions to meet the same standards as ambulatory surgical centers, and also require these centers to have doctors with admitting privileges at local hospitals. This is a big decision for abortion rights nationwide, and particularly in Arkansas, because we have a new law that's already under challenge in court that requires abortion facilities to have a doctor with admitting privileges. The pressure from the anti-abortion forces is so great that doctors are afraid to sign up to do such a thing, for example, Planned Parenthood. And by the way, these are not surgery centers in most cases. The places put out of business in Texas and that would be put out of business here are places that dispense pills to women in the first 8 weeks of pregnancy, high hormone pills that encourage miscarriages and are proven safe. As Justice Ruth Ginsburg noted, it's safer to provide a pill for an early miscarriage than it is to deliver a baby at childbirth, but we don't have the same kind of regulations for childbirth. Nonetheless, Senator Tom Cotton, Attorney General Leslie Rutledge, and other Republican politicians are putting out the Republican Party line that this is about the safety and welfare of women. It's not. It's about preventing women from having full medical rights, no more or less. The Supreme Court today also, in an 8-0 decision, overturned the conviction of former Virginia Governor Bob McConnell for taking money from somebody who was interested in getting state help on a business enterprise. Politicians all over America breathed a sigh of relief. As the Supreme Court said, in some cases there's a fine line between just playing the political game, giving politicians money for campaigns, for example, and outright bribery. The McDonald case could go back to a lower court. The court said that they hadn't specifically instructed the jury that the government needed to demonstrate that he'd taken an official action in support of the company that gave him money. He said he was just friendly, just met with him and that sort of thing. We've heard that before. There's going to be a lot of school news in Little Rock this week. Tonight, the State Board of Education is going to interview candidates for the somewhat school board light that's going to be appointed to advise the State Board of Education while the Little Rock School District is under state control. Wednesday, there's going to be a meeting of the committee that talks about ways that the public schools and charter schools can collaborate in Pulaski County. Jerry Guest, the current superintendent of the Pulaski County School District, has now filed a letter, as Baker Curris, the outgoing Little Rock superintendent, is saying that there's really not much point to this exercise on study of collaboration, because there's just no point in continuing to encourage the development of parallel school systems that take students from one district and created another district, charter schools that have needs for more teachers and more superintendents. We don't have enough qualified people to run the schools already. By the way, for that meeting, they filed some interesting statistics that really show overall charter schools simply don't outperform the regular public schools in Little Rock, particularly when you look at how they do with minority students and poor students. A new study from the Brennan Center for Justice shows that in 6 years' time, the percentage influence of dark money in elections at the local level on up has tripled. They have a huge amount of influence now, more so than direct campaign contributions. They studied 6 states, not including Arkansas, but they did find a big player in dark money influence on elections is none other than the Walton family. Their billions are electing people that put in their education agenda into effect all over the country, California and Louisiana to name two. You know, Little Rock, we always seem to be late to pick up on trends. We're talking about widening a big freeway through downtown Little Rock right now, while cities all over America are tearing up their freeways because they realize what damage they do. Interesting story by the Associated Press that you can read online at our website, arkansasblog.com, about how cities who built skywalks between buildings downtown are tearing them down. They discourage street level activity. They make downtowns, perhaps, though they insulate the people who walk in them from the weather, particularly in cold weather cities, they discourage development at the street level. It gives a vibrancy to the city. Anybody who's been to New York knows how wonderful it is to be able to walk the streets any hour of the day or night and see a lot of activity there. Well, not to worry, Little Rock's on the wrong end of this trend too. We have people behind the Little Rock Tech Park that not only want more skywalks, they want to use your taxpayer money to build them. Won't we ever learn anything here? There's going to be interesting filings this week. Keep checking the Arkansas blog for the updates. In the case of the civil lawsuit brought against Mike Maggio, nursing home owner Michael Morton, and political player Gilbert Baker, over whether undue influence was applied to get Mike Maggio to reduce a big $5 million judgment against a nursing home to $1 million. I think there's going to be some information from the discovery process in this case. It's going to be very interesting. It will not be flattering to the political campaign process in Arkansas. And finally, today's Huckup. Mike Huckabee is going to have to pay not $12,500, but $25,000 for his unauthorized use of "I the Tiger" at a political rally with Kim Davis. He's still begging the FEC to let him raise some money from rich people to pay his just debt. When you do the crime, you got to do the time or pay the money, Mike. Sorry. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.